I'll let you savor the view here for a second. This is so majestic. I feel like I'm somewhere in Lothlorien. I believe that was the name of Galadriel's kingdom in The Lord of the Rings, my favorite book and movie. If you haven't seen it, please do. But I'm going to start with a poem because it's such a majestic view. All that is gold does not glitter. Not all those who wander are lost. The old that is strong does not wither. Deep roots are not touched by the frost. From the ashes a fire shall be woken, a flame from the shadows shall spring. Renewed shall be blade that was broken. The crownless again shall be king. What's the point? The point is not necessarily to show off my reciting abilities, although memorizing poetry is actually an amazing way to train memory and should be done much more often, but that's not the point. The point is, notice that in Tolkien's poem, he actually does a couple cute or a couple incorrect things, or at least one. He says, renewed shall be blade that was broken. And normally, we would say renewed shall be the blade that was broken, right? Like, I kind of want to hear a definite article there. I'm going somewhere with this point. He also says, he makes a play on an English phrase, all that glitters is not gold, right? Which means that not everything that glitters is gold. And he says, all that is gold does not glitter, which means that not all gold glitters. So one, he reverses it and uses it in a very unusual way. So what am I talking about? I'm talking about a very interesting, quote-unquote, esoteric thing called Sprachgefühl, which is a German word which means a sense of the language. And the method to my madness, or the madness to my method here, was citing Tolkien to show you that a true master of their craft knows the rules, but can take the liberty to actually break the rules. And that is one of the tests of knowing if you're a master of something. And this is not necessarily, I'm not agitating you to break the rules. This is no sedition or no whatever rebellious clip maybe. But that is one of the tests that you know you've reached that level. And of course, another test is if you have the chutzpah to argue with experts in that field. Like, for example, I have a colleague, Rick, and to a large degree I trained Rick as a translator. And now sometimes he will argue with me, and sometimes he will end up being right. And I'm very happy as a coach and trainer because that means he has a certain level of professionalism. But what is this esoteric thing called Sprachgefühl, and how do we actually build it? It means a sense of the language. It means feeling the language. It means understanding when something is wrong or not wrong, even beyond the rules. But I thought to myself, what is it actually composed of? And I can probably very loosely break it down into a few different things. So one is, of course, you have to have a basic fundamental and a rather in-depth understanding of the rules before you're going to break them. You have to know, obviously, the rules of English grammar and syntax, and English is just an example, right? Your own language as well, and translation as well, and interpreting as well. You don't have to be a professor of grammar. And in fact, professors of grammar, if there is such a thing, are usually not necessarily the best translators and interpreters. No offense meant to professors, because we are practical linguists, we are, without actually quotation marks, and they are more theoreticians. There is a difference. But that is one thing. Yes, have a great command of the rules. Second thing, kind of like a very exact detail, know the collocations. Collocation means if two words go together or don't go together. For example, in English, most native speakers would not say beautiful man, handsome woman. Yes, it can be said. Yes, it is not wrong, or no, it is not wrong. Yes, I've seen Helen Hunt say to Jack Nicholson, you're a beautiful man, but she meant more like inside, you know, his soul and so forth. And yes, handsome lass or whatever is used in older English, but today in modern English, those are not collocations that you would often hear. Or for example, we were talking about the word magic in a different clip, and most people would not say magical wand. It's magic wand just because that's the set way of calling that very useful instrument or tool. That is the second thing. The third thing is just having very expansive and versatile vocabulary, because then you can juggle it. You're not like stuck to just one word or one synonym. Another important point which goes hand in hand with collocations and vocabulary is understanding the definitions. and digging deep and knowing a specific difference between definitions, or that there really isn't one, right? Because if, for example, I honestly tried. If you know the difference between these two words, please write me and tell me, because maybe I didn't dig deep enough. But I've tried to find the difference between malicious and malevolent, and I have not. So if somebody tells you, well, you translated this as malicious and it should be malevolent, I'd be like, both are correct, right? I'll give you another example. This was from actually a book translation that I declined based specifically on this experience. And I don't remember exactly what the Russian said, but in English I translated the phrase as the executive is not willing to, or the manager is not willing to. And they were like, the people, the clients were like, but in Russian it says he has no desire to. And you have to translate a noun as a noun. And when I heard that, I was like, no, you don't have to. And this is linguistically and semantically equivalent. And you either trust me to translate the book well, or you don't. And I just gave it to a colleague. Plus, I thought it was kind of boring. Sorry. So I think these are the components. Maybe I missed something, right? So it's knowing the rules well enough so that you can follow them or break them and argue about them, of course. Collocations, versatile vocabulary, knowledge of definitions. Oh, one last thing, but this goes along with all of it. Having had enough exposure to very, very erudite sources, books, movies, intelligent people, that you hear a lot of the usage of the language and you know the good from the bad. But erudite sources, I'm gonna cite a funny anecdote and probably not cite the author, no offense, but I remember reading a book in English class that I got from a friend, and my English teacher was like, why are you reading that? And honestly, it was not the best example of the usage of English, and I agree with her, and I was a little stubborn about it. But the point is, when you're getting exposure, try to get it to very, very clever, or at least educated sources. And again, the two tests are, you know the rules well enough so that you can slightly bend them or break them like Neo in the Matrix. And two, you can argue with people. So that's not the point. The point is to have Sprachgefühl, because it really, really helps in translation and interpreting. It is something that can differentiate you from the rest. You can be above the fray, because they might be good, they might be technically good, but if you have it, it's just one extra asset, and you should have it. So that's my call to action. Work on it, develop it, and I think you'll know when you have it. See you in the next clip.